For years, girls have played sports, but boys have gotten much of the respect and spotlight. Not anymore. Every week, I will bring to you She Got Game, a segment geared towards girls' sports. And what better way to kick it off than a quick chat with three of New York's legendary high school basketball players. Nicole Kazmarski, 1999 National Gatorade Player of the Year. Niesha Butler, who broke Kenny Anderson's New York City scoring record. And Julianne Vianney, 2004 New York State Player of the Year. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me. Now, you guys are all broadcasting for MSG Varsity. Nicole, do you miss it?
Playing? No, not so much. I'm happy to be where I am right now.
Is there a sense of nostalgia?
Well, I mean, I miss the feeling when you're out there just to play, but it's nice to keep our hand in the game by broadcasting, so I don't know about nostalgia, but I do miss a lot of things about it.
And Niesha, how about you? You're still playing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a baller for life. Like, even if I'm like the old woman, playing in the, rec leagues or hopefully WNBA, whatever it is, I'm gonna still play.
Now, Nicole, 8th grade, you led your team to a state championship. You were the leader on that team. As an 8th grader, you weren't even in high school yet. Was it difficult to be a leader on a team as someone who's not even in high school?
Well, I think at the time I didn't really feel like I had to be the leader on the team. I had a lot of upperclassmen that were on the team with me, so it was almost a position where there really was no pressure. If I had a bad game, it was like, okay, she's an 8th grader, it's okay. If I had a great game, then even better. I think I felt much more pressure as a senior leading. That was when I really was the leader, the expected leader of the team. So as an 8th grader, no, not so much. It was just fun.
Now, for you, Niesha, in 6th grade, you were getting letters from colleges. How was that, having that high expectation set for you at such a young age?
Well, you don't really know at 12 years old, really. You just play basketball with the team, and have fun. I mean, it was like college. I think my first college was Purdue. I didn't even know where that was, you know what I mean? I gave it to my dad. I was like, okay, can I go outside to play? So I think at that age, you really don't understand what's ahead of you. You really don't understand, So it's really a game until you get older and, stuff is at stake.
Julianne, you had an older sister that kind of led the way for you. Did that help?
It did. My older sister, Jenna, we played together for a couple of years in high school, but she was definitely the leader, went to Villanova, and I think there was a measure of competition with us, and I think that was really key for me because I always wanted to outplay her and outdo her, and we were always competing, but it was good.
Now, family was involved with all your basketball careers. Your dad coached you. Your dad introduced you to the game. What impact do you think family had on the game?
Well, it was a bonding experience first. I mean, you really don't know you're good, until, you get older and you start playing with people. But for my dad and I, it was just, he's a basketball nut. I actually played a lot of different sports, but basketball was one with, a team-oriented sports. So, I mean, it's just a part of a family, a regular family, I guess,
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. My dad was also quite a basketball nut. We would travel together with AAU tournaments. I'm sure you guys did the same thing. And my, carpool rides, everybody's in the car with me and my two sisters. It was really a bonding experience.
Niesha, you said you didn't realize how good you were, but Nicole, you had to realize you were packing gyms, and that was kind of unprecedented on Long Island for girls basketball. Did you realize that you were changing the game for girls on Long Island?
Not even. I don't think it hit me until now when I started coming back to the game, to the scene, and really seeing how it is now and what it was when I played, and it really was such a special time for us and our team, and the impact didn't hit me until coming back, like how many years later, 12 years later, did I really realize everything that went on,
All three of you were the best players on your team. With being the best, is there a downside?
Well, sometimes you feel like all eyes are on you and there's pressure to perform. I'm sure you guys felt the same way. You feel like everybody's got the bullseye on your back. My team in high school was always very successful, and then I went to college and we were successful, and it did feel like that pressure to just do well.
2 seconds left on the clock. Do you want the ball? Game's tied.
Yes, most definitely I want the ball. And the reason why, I think, is because, girls like us, we put the time in the gym. You know what I mean? We work at it. So, we definitely want, it's not about the glory if we make it. It's just that we know that, in order to be good at whatever you do, I mean, even in academics or anything, if you put the time in, you want to see what you got. You know what I mean? You want to see if you're going to make that shot with 2 seconds left. So, yeah, definitely I want the ball.
Do you feel pressure in that position?
No, I agree with Niesha 100%. I mean, when I used to practice out in my grandmother's backyard, I would pretend that it was that kind of situation. You know, I'm on the free throw line, I need these two to tie, or, you know, I put myself in that situation where I want that opportunity, make or miss, you want the opportunity all the time.
Make or miss. So is the pressure a positive thing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. Every player is different, but I think with all three of us, we can pretty much say that we relish that kind of pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. The pressure was what I thrived on. I loved the close games, and in those games you feel like, all right, now is my time to really step up, to shine, to do the best I can for my team. And I think that was the most exciting part of basketball, was the close games, because it was fun. You could show what you were really made of.
Niesha, you broke Kenny Anderson's scoring record, 3,127 points. Is that a goal that you had set for yourself?
No. I mean, you just score to win. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just, I was in a mode or just a zone that, I just like to, I like to shoot. There wasn't a shot I've seen that I didn't want to take. You know what I mean? But, the scoring record, I didn't realize until my senior year, because I had missed my first 10 games of my senior year because I tore my MCL. So that was kind of like, I was like nervous, like, was I going to get it? Was I not? And people were like, man, you missed 10 games of the season, you might not get it. So, it was, no, I don't really think you go in. At that point, you want to win. You want to get the championship, you know what I mean? At the point to say, we didn't know we were good, but I always heard about Kaz, growing up, and I know it was just, it was like, we all be like, oh, man, this girl's good, you know what I mean? You don't sit there and say, oh, yeah, I'm cool, you know what I mean? You just don't do that, because there's always competition, so. But we hear about each other.
So you used each other to push each other, even though you didn't even know each other.
Yeah, well, it was more, we played on the same AAU team, so it was kind of like with us, like, it was kind of like a family. Like, I just liked, I really am a proponent of women's basketball. Like, it helps us in life, not just basketball. We're able to, the pressure, we're used to it, but it helps, as we know, as we get older, life is pressure, you know what I mean? But when you're in basketball, you kind of know how to navigate through life a little bit easier, I think. So.
Yeah, and you learn how to be a team player, and wherever you are in life, you're going to have to learn those kinds of skills, especially confidence and all that stuff. So I agree with Niesha. You use each other to push each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you think basketball has affected your life even today?
Those things that we just talked about, like being able to work with others, be a good team player, build your self-esteem, all those things are the positive aspects of basketball that you have to take with you when you're playing so long like we have. So I think it's very positive in that sense.
The recruitment process. Letters upon letters.
That was fun.
Is it flattering?
On the show.
Or is it stressful?
In 7th grade, it's flattering
Yeah,
when you get.
grade.
I think Purdue was my first letter too. I mean, they were hitting all the young ones, but you don't fully understand the capacity of it until you're trying to make a decision. And I have to say, my senior year was the worst year probably of my life, having to deal with that. And I'm not a person that likes to tell people no, so I have all these coaches. I'm like talking to them for like how many hours a night. They're coming to visits. Like, how many times are you going to come visit? Like, I don't know what to do anymore with you. So it was very, very difficult.
And Nicole, both you and Julianne transferred. What advice would you have for kids going through the recruitment process, the college decision process now?
Well, it's very hard. I mean, I thought that I was making the right decision by going where I went. I went to URI, and everything seemed so right about it, but something just didn't fit when I was there. And so I really could give kids advice. Just sit down, do your research, know what you're getting into, know the coaches, everything about the school, because you're not going to be playing basketball all the time. I think that's a huge thing, is that you have to be happy with the basketball aspect, but also the school, and really go with your gut, even though I went with my gut and it didn't end up going there. So it was a tough process, but I'm really happy with how everything ended up.
And I'm going to ask you, 2003, you played at Rucker Park. They called your game, called you PG for Pretty Game.
Right.
6 years prior, they called you Pretty Thing.
Yeah.
Do you think it's hard as a girl to get respect as both a woman and as a player?
Well, I think as women, we have to we have to demand our respect. I think it's really about your flavor, your swag, as I like to call it. I mean, if I go in, with a pink jumpsuit and my hair done, and I drop 40. They're going to give you respect. You know what I'm saying? If I come in, I'm ready to get business, which I did. The Rucker, you have to earn everything. There's referees. Was there a referee? I'm not even sure if he was there or not. But you get hit, you get dragged. And my thing was, when I played in the Rucker, like, they dogged me out because I was one of the few people, that had a scholarship at that time, because I just liked playing the hood, but I held my own, you know what I mean? They gave me, I was hoping for like Transformer or some cool name, but you don't pick your nickname, so, I took it. PG, point guard, I thought, but it wound up being a pretty game, so it's cool.
Does anybody have any regrets looking back?
I wouldn't say I have any regrets personally. I thought when I decided to go to Marist, which was a local school, I originally did not want to go there because it was so close to where I went home. I was home, so it was a tough decision. I'm like, I got to go back to school. I got to go to Marist. It's close to home. But the funny thing is, it ended up working out really great. I had a great team. I played for a coach that I knew because I played for him for 2 years in high school. So I actually knew what I was getting into. I knew the type of person he was, and I ended up having a really fun college career, even though at first I didn't think it was going to be like that because I didn't want to stay close to home, but it was the best decision. So I wouldn't say I have any regrets.
Has anything you would have done differently?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason, and for whatever reason, UCLA was my path, and I got hurt, and it just, you can't really say. I think that maybe if I knew now, like, what's that way that you put it? If I had the wisdom I have now, then I would have had a different thought process. I would have maybe focused more on academics and, not made everything just about basketball, but I don't think you should ever have regrets, really, everything. It's brought me to where I am today, and I'm happy about it.
Well, I think that the experience that we went through, we really can guide younger kids, because my dad is in the medical field. Like, there's no blueprint. You know what I'm saying? So although I don't have any regrets, I do believe that as a kid, you're 16, 17 years old, you don't realize that you're going into a business. You know what I mean? It's a business, especially if you're as good as we are. It was more like it's about money, it's about, it's a business. So I think that as a kid, you're like, I want to play basketball, if there's a sunny day or it's better campus, something like that. I think just for kids who are coming up, in the same positions, I would really, urge them to do their homework in a sense of talking to people like us that's been through it. Because we know what's, we know what's up. We know what the coaches are telling us is true, what's not true. Maybe on our visits, I would have asked different questions. You know what I'm saying? I would have went somewhere else, you know what I mean? So I don't know if it's regrets, but I think definitely my path has shown me what I could have done different and what I need to tell other, young players coming up so they don't go through the same bumps that I did go through. So.
I agree. Yeah. I think when you're that age, 18 or 17, you're so naive and you think, oh my God, these people really care about me. I'm going to pick the school I think cares about me the most, but at the end of the day, it is a business. It's about, these schools being good so they can bring money in, and you really start to see the other side of things when you get injured. It's a different type of situation, but bottom line, I mean, they could tell you whatever they want, but it is a business, and that attitude will always prevail. So.
Yeah, I tend to completely agree with both of you. And not only is it a business, but it's a full-time job. When you go to college and you decide to play a Division I sport, like we decided to play basketball, people always used to say to me, oh, you guys luck out. You get to go to school for free. And I'm like, no. Actually, we pay for it in a lot of other ways, time, physically, everything. And so you have to be ready for that going into college.
Last question. Watching these girls play today, how do you think the female athlete has changed or evolved, or is it exactly the same?
Who wants to lead that one?
Well, in some ways, it's still similar, but in other ways, I have seen the differences. I mean, I've been to a few of the different regions of New York, and it's different. Some places, I feel like since I was younger, and when we were all playing and recruited, people were really specializing in one sport, and I'm starting to see a kind of reversal with that. So where I'm going to schools, there's a lot of girls that are playing 2 sports or 3 sports, and I'm not sure how I feel about that, because it's nice to be well-rounded and open to a lot of sports, but at the same time, I think in order to be the best that you can be, or you're really looking to get a scholarship, I think it's probably wiser to specialize, but there's 2 different opinions with that.
Well, I definitely think that high school-wise, It's kind of the same. You know, you have that one special player, and everybody else kind of falls into the, you know, good bracket, but you do have like one special players. But in a college game, I think is where you see the difference. You know, we have like, you know, 6'3" players that for sure were centers, you know, when I was playing, and they're like wing players now. You know, I'm like, really? Like, get back down there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think right now the girls' game is evolving, you know, progressively, like step by step, but you see it with the perimeter players that are big now, are really branching out, and they're able to do everything. You know, play 1 through 5. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more about versatility. You see a big girl that can handle the ball like a point guard, but definitely on the college game, I think it's really evident because you're getting all those special players from every region and you're putting them all together and you really see the difference. But as far as high school, aside from those few players, like Niesha said, I don't think it's really evolved as much as you would expect it to have. But I think it's the multi-sport thing. Basketball is not a sport that you could just play seasonally. Yeah. It's something that you have to put the time, the work. There's so much skill involved, and really that's what you have to do to be great at it.
Game of horse. Who wins of the three of you?
Oh, we were going to win. She said, I don't ever win. That's it. That's what makes us
We're competitors.
We have to be on the same team. How about that?
Yeah. We're waiting for those guys. You know? I think we're
competitors.
Put it like this. I'll pick them, you know, on my squad any day. How about that?
All right. Well, Julianne, Nicole, Niesha, thank you so much for joining us. Go to MSGVarsity.com, She Got Game with Lauren Brill to see what else these three had to say about the game and their experiences. We will see you next week. Thank you for joining me.